Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, depends on your time and your location. I salute you, I greet you, and I welcome you to join us this wonderful evening on a wonderful program this evening where we trying to find answers to all the things that USB government is doing, or to understand the importance of a peaceful declaration, to understand the meaning of our movement that we all, or Biafrans that travels to Finland to make that peaceful declaration for us, and what that peaceful declaration simply means to us, and how that peaceful declaration is only way out for us to have Biafra as a country. How this peaceful declaration ends many sufferers and many people that could have died in Biafra land in the name of protest or agitation. Ndị be anyị si n'okwu Igbo na mmadụ adịghị amakwa n'ihe o nwere otu ya elu zuo ya. That is one thing I find out in our people's mind. We never value what we have, even up to this state that we are into. Our people are doing what they think and how they feel and what they want. And also, if you are not the one in charge, no other person will do it. This has become the method of our people in this movement that we are into. And when I sit down to calculate and look at it in a so much way that other peoples in the world have achieved their own, then I begin to ask myself some questions. Why our own is the only one that is quite different from the way or how others have rallied around together and achieved their own? Why is this particular our own is one that has many group more, many I too know, many people that they refuse to adhere to the main instruction of what 21st century. So I begin to wonder if our people really want Biafra as a country, with everything that is happening, with everything that is going on in the midst of we as the Biafran people. Sometimes all these things call to ask questions, honestly. You might not be asking these questions, but those things bothers me when I find out that what we are doing is not the way other people have in the past achieved their own country. That ours is quite different in what people did in their own time for them to have a new country. So it only makes me to start asking questions, and here and there start looking for how people pass this exam or this class that we are schooling right now. How do they graduate? It takes them to graduate to become barristers, to become lawyers, to become professors, to become lecturers. This is the thing that I begin to ask myself. And when I begin to ask these questions, I begin to find an answer. That the answers teaches me, I myself, that it's possible to achieve a new country in this 21st century. My research and my questions, because never is na n'okwu Igbo na onye na-ajụ ajụ adịrị efu ụzọ and na onye jụọ akọwarị ya o wee ghọta. So our people said, he who asks questions can never lost on the road of the journey he's taking. Then, when I start asking these questions, I have to convince the questions and the answer I find by myself convinced me that what USB or what Okonozo Beze did for the Biafran people is the only way to achieve Biafra as a nation, not other way around. It's also proved to me that you don't need military force for you to become a nation in this 21st century. Once you are seeking for, after your peaceful declaration with a government in exile precisely, or even in the homeland, you made a declaration that you are a new country, that you don't need to showcase military force for you to prove, I am a nation. I have a sovereignty. I am a sovereign nation. The word says in this 21st century that military, that without force, without military, that you can get recognition for a new country after a peaceful declaration. After a peaceful declaration, through the diplomatic movement, through political pressure, through legal way, that you can assume, you can get recognition from other countries. And the question may be, in this 21st century, is there any exile government in the world today that are number one in the exile government today, where USB is number 5? Have they ever achieved recognition without military? Without one boot, they call it one boot on ground. And I always remind us, there is a Geneva Convention. Into all this Geneva Convention and all the existing protocol, moreover, the one of 1977 that was implemented in this 21st century, that guides a new country and the military wing and the military force or liberation force and everything. The law also proved that in this 21st century, that they do not need military for you to become a nation. They also proving to us that a peaceful declaration is more important than the military aspect of it. That when you get recognition, then you can build your army. So nobody will tag them terrorists. Nobody will tag them rebel. Nobody will tag them spoiler. You see, on the safer side of the world, now the world is the one in this 21st century, giving us a safer side for us to be a country. In this 21st century, the world will say, when you have military on ground, that some people will tag the military terror. They will tag them rebel. They will tag them mob. They will tag them criminal. They will tag them the existing country that you are existing from. We target many names to spoil your name in that movement. So that it's better after a peaceful declaration that the militaries lie low, believe on self-defense in their own territory, not to show themselves in social media at all. So nobody will tag them anything. Why their government in exile pursue to get recognition? When we talk about 18th, 20th centuries, it has happened. And people get recognition through that way, become a member of the UN. In this 21st century, people are still working towards that. And this 21st century law was totally holistically implemented in this particular 2024/2026 that the law become effective. So as we are moving into the program this evening, we will first ask the first program we are going to treat is this. Without a military, after a peaceful declaration from government in exile, can they get international recognition without military? We have also treated here. Does it mean that after a peaceful declaration from a government in exile, because of no military, can they get recognition, or are they going to get recognition based on the actions of the military? They also told us here that looking for recognition through a military action was one of the most difficult and the complex and the tight area for you to have a new country in this 21st century. On that, they quoted to us on the UN Charter, Article 2 in bracket 4, that in this 21st century, that they prohibit anybody or any group who want to use by force to have a new country. Now, when you are looking into all these things I'm mentioning right now, then we go down to check every other countries in the past, even in the areas of 19th century/20th century. What will you see? You will find out that time, the world believe in military power. You must go to battlefield before you become a nation. But this 21st century, they said, no, going to battlefield is creating more war, more problems to the world, that they want a peaceful nation who will emerge, stand on the existing protocol of the new nation. This is how the world we are into are seeing things. And how are we going to see our own things in a different way? Now, it simply means that what we think, how we see it, what we reason, what we believe is not the way that the world believe and not how they think. The world are not touching emotion. They are not touching, I know him. If not for him, this Biafra will never come. The world don't do like that. The international community, the South Africa, the Namibia, the Angolas, and all these countries in Africa, their reasoning for a new nation is quite different from what we are reasoning. What do I mean? Those who said, if not for IPOB or Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, let that Biafra never come. Those who said, if not for Simon Ekpa, I will spoil it, but Biafra will not come. That is not how the world see it. That is not how the world reason. It is very important that at this stage we are into, as the world is changing, that we, as the Biafran people, has to also do what? Change. Because when we change according to the template of the world and their movement, it's also doing what? Proving that we are prepared to work with the new law of the world. These are the areas that all of us or any one of us need to look into in this 21st century. And when does the law make it easy for us to pass this exam, the final exam? And the constitution of the school or the school authority allows you to even use phone in exam class. That means you're gonna pass. That means they make the exam easy for you. If you sit down to look at it very well, then you will find out that the world has made it easy for you to pass the exam. Now that the world has made it easy for you and said, okay, go into exam hall with your phone. You can research when you are asking, when you want to ask a question, get a correct answer. And when they said, if you come to door, they will search you and take everything away from you. Which one is the easiest way for you? Also, it simply means when you send a daughter or a child or a son to school, and every year that child remain in one class, are you going to be happy paying money You send a child only for practice. Okay, let me give it a little bit up. You send a child to JS1, and this child has been in JS1 for 5 years. Just he remain in JS1. So are you telling me that willingly that you are going to be continuously paying money for this child for staying in one place without passing to another class for confirmed 5 good years? Tell yourself truth. That is where we are at this stage. What matters so much to me is that not what I feel, not how I see it, not what I reason, not what I want, but what did the world want, and how did they even give us a clue, a hint of how we are going to get Biafra as a nation? If what they give us is very simple to manage, if what they give us is the way they want us to go and we achieve it, it's not the best way for us to go in that way. That is the most best way to go. So I want you to know that we are going to answer some questions this night, and I will carry you along to answer this question as network permits us to go through. When we start answering those questions, I want you to be listening. The first headline on the question we are treating this night is, in this 21st century, after a peaceful declaration from government in exile under Geneva Convention, without military force, can this government in exile get international recognition? Without a military force, can this exile government that make a peaceful declaration, can they get international recognition, like even up to the level of the UN? Because when we talk about the international recognition, there is what I want to understand there. What is that thing? When any country in Africa gives recognition, it's an international because they're external body. When we go from Asia, Middle East, and Europe, it is the same thing. Then when final one is to sit on the as a member, or when a member of you recognize you, the case has finished. So the question should be those that was being organized by through all this group, by through AU, by through EU, by through UN, and the other countries. What are the criteria? What are things that transpired they used to achieve their country? Now, if people of 5 or 6 or 50 people has gone through this way we are going, the best thing is it not for us to implement some of things that leads them to achieve their own country? I think on my own way that could be the best thing to do. Ndị be wesi n'okwu Igbo na ọ na-eme ọ bụrụ na ụzụ amara akpọ ole egbe anya n'ọdụ dị na gịnị ga-eme na ọkpụ ụzụ ga-amụtara ka esi akpụ ụzụ. In Igbo adage, asịkwa again, na ọ bụrụ nwata ụzọ esi ite na-ebi ụzọ wee mkpọmkpọ ite emere nsika n'ụlọ. Ndị be anyị kwukwa again na ọ bụrụ na mmadụ amaghị ụzọ esi eji ekute mmiri, ya soro mpekele eju ka o ruo na mmiri kuru mmiri wee bata. So why our own must be what we think, how we feel, what we reason, that if not from us Nnamdi Kanu, let Biafra not come. If not from us Simon Ekpa, I will destroy it. Who does that? Are you the one that implemented all this law? I had one that's given recognition for a new country. What is your concern? Do you have any signature on that? That is why it is very imperative that we all understand what we are doing. So we are moving very speedily this night. We have made the intro, so you may understand why we are here and what we are about to discuss this evening. So I want you to listen to this.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework rather than military force is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has...
There is something I want you to have in mind between this Montevideo Convention and Geneva Convention. If what they require for us to have recognition, if military is among them at all, if there is anything like military, inside the requirement for us to have a new nation. Just pay close attention how we play it 2 times without saying a word. So you can be writing it on the comment section and proving it that you have understand it perfectly. But remember our code. I am a citizen of United State of what? Biafra. Remember our code. I am a citizen of United State of what? Biafra. That is our code at always.
Evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground. 3. Challenges to sovereignty. Despite peaceful declarations, 2 major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
I hope you are listening. And I hope you understand. So listen again before we go into our analysis.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework rather than military force is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground. 3. Challenges to sovereignty. Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
I hope you are listening. Before we go into our analysis fully, I want to thank you, Amadi Shigoze, thank you so much. Mazi Fani, thank you so much. I see you. Mazi Ifani Shima, thank you so much. I see you. Izichuku, Darlington, thank you so much. Good evening from here. Chris Son Biafra, I greet you. Thank you so much. These are those that are here, and I can see their comments. I once again greet you and welcome you. Thanks so much for coming. And thank you for all your comments as you are putting it down. Then also, Chris Biafra, son is still here. Yes, so Ikechukwu is also here. James Chigozie is also brilliant. Is also thank you for all of you. As I welcome you, please endeavor to welcome one another, please, by liking and sharing the program. This is how you can help me to let the program go viral. I want you to know when people are shouting, men on ground, Biafra Liberation Army. I want you to see that it is possible for you. They said here in a common word that a government in exile is the one who win. That in this 21st century, they want you to win on paper first, before winning on the ground. But our people channel everything. Oh, if there is no this Biafra Liberation Military, if there is no Biafra Liberation Army, we will never have Biafra as a country. We are just playing. Can you see from the Geneva Convention, the law that controls the world, that nothing like first military? Do you know why all these people are focusing and moving towards that? Because they know that the only thing our people have in mind is that when they talk about the military, they will put money. So all these people, they want from where they were making their own gain. So when the money will come, they will decide how much they will give to those guys in the homeland. That is what we passed through. That is what we passed through when I was on ground. Those in the hem of their fare will first collect their part before they will send. It's only on the time of Masai Maneba that those things have stopped. That is why she said, I must know those that are working for USB. Which number are you? Not when you come and tell me, there is 50 men here. They will send money in the number of 50 men. Why you have only 10 men there? So these are the scams that has been happening in this movement that this government is being careful with. That's why I want to believe that USB is on the right track with what you're hearing here today. So if you just join me, please, I want you to like and share the program. It's very important if you may do so. So now we start. Remember, the question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in this 21st century through a peaceful declaration and a legal framework rather than the military force. they said is somehow complex. Instruction of the international laws are global politics. When you see this movement, the people that do not understand that anything about what we are doing to achieve Biafra is all about politics. You had it here. What we are doing for us to achieve Biafra as a country is all about what? Pure politics, what we are doing. And if you're not into politics, you can't play the game. It's not by who has louder voice. It's not about who fights while talking. It's not about open mouth widely. No. It is about the law must be carried out. When you see our people today, everybody majority of people channel their energy on the men on ground. I must tell you, they are not channeling their energy because of they really want it to work like that, but because of they see that this is avenue that money comes into the story. That's why they want to remain there. Try to use the men on ground to confuse those that want to be confused. So when you follow some things and some people, you find out that, oh God, some of our people are very far from this our new country. Before they will realize where we are, it's gonna be late for them. Let no one deceive you. And also I want to understand it clearly that it's only in USB we are declared that you have a hope to remain on it. The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in this 21st century through a peaceful declaration, yes, but somehow and the legal framework rather than the military force is a complex of international law and global politics. The international law is there. The politics is there. That's why I told you that if you are waiting for Mazen Nnamdi to come out to start it again, you are deceiving. You are not telling yourself truth. You are not telling yourself truth. But when you reason with what is on the ground and how some other leaders who are fighting for a new country, maybe that was arrested, what their people did, then you will find what USB is doing on it right now. So, why the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory? Modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under the significant criteria. I hope there's something I want to understand here. The modern law including the existing protocol of the Montevideo Convention of 1933, then also the Geneva Convention, who are here to handle everything about military and how military should act and how under a peaceful declaration that are lacking international recognition, what their people supposed to do. So you can see everything that is going on. My happiness is that under all these things, that what is coming out in the world is what will benefit us, no matter how many years it's going to take us for us to be there. But we're not going to be there again under gun and bullets that make it so hard. We are going to be there with only peaceful, that the world want to embrace those that make a peaceful declaration, those that they want their country to exit through a peaceful declaration. These are the areas I want to understand. I want to be paying attention this evening. Not what we think, not how we feel. Believe you me.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework, rather than military force, is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention, 1933, traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework. Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed.
Listen to this legal framework, Geneva Convention and beyond. Listen to this particular article. You will see something take home today. So if you are still doubting USB, you are declared. So you may come back and stand on the mandate of the truth.
Conflict. But Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground. 3. Challenges to sovereignty. Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
Why do you allow me to play full again? As we are going fast right now, then you can follow up without wasting time. Our program these days is something that is bothering all of us. But I want you to know that USB has their military. Our own case is complete. Do you know why I am treating this issue? Because you are the military in this 21st century does not even have right to showcase in social media. Even what Avatar is doing, I don't even like it at all. You see what Avatar is coming to social media sometimes, you come through fundraising or through Zoom and start talking. We don't need it. Let the military be silent on the ground on their own. Do their job peaceful on their own. Because this 21st century, the world will use social media to monitor a government in exile, to know how prepared and how peaceful they are from down to abroad, down to the homeland. And they also make it open for us to understand that military showing face can be a danger. That military showcasing their face in this 21st century, after a peaceful declaration with a peaceful government in exile, that military showing their face can become a delay to a movement. And there is many countries that their actions of their military showing their face in social media delayed their recognition in this 21st century. Even up to today, there is those that are still be sanctioned because of the action of the military. Let me tell you, Kosovo was being sanctioned 2018 today, there was being sanctioned because of the action of the military. Northern Cyprus was being sanctioned because of the action of their military on social media. What they are seeing. South Sudan was somehow being sanctioned. Kosovo, Somaliland was being sanctioned somehow. That is why Somaliland stayed for over 3 decades, 34 good years before Israel recognized them. As Israel recognized them, look at the politics right now. Turkey are blocking that recognition. Turkey is taking away the recognition of Somaliland from Israel. You see the politics. That is why, for those who don't understand it, we say Ngozi Rebesi is the politician. Tochi is the former politician. You can only be a politician for you to fight for a new country, because it is all about what? Politics. It is all about what? Politics. It's not about military force. Whether you like it or not, the world has changed their movement. The world has changed their laws. The world has proved to us the changes has begun. Even in a family, there's a times changes come into family. Even in Omona, changes come in. You change from bad to good. The world has changed from violence to peaceful movement of the world. Is what else you want? You want government? What do you want them to come and be doing for you? That is why it's very, very imperative in this 21st century that USB have accepted the law of 21st century. That is why they stand on the mandate of peaceful declaration, not necessarily to come and show to social media. Even Obatobi, Simon Ebanjoko, adopted this law before he was arrested. That is why he told us that after a peaceful declaration, that if you're expecting him to be knocking woto, that you are deceiving yourself. Our people follow messenger, but they do not follow the message. Our people put their emotion, their likeness, their feelings on the movement of a new country. You don't to put it there. That is why there is many mistakes here and there from our people. A movement of a new country does not rely on the shoulder of one person. A movement of a new country does not base head of one person. It's based on everybody. That is why it is good for you to follow messenger, for you to follow the message, not the messenger. Now the world is following a message, and you are following messenger. The world is following message, and the people who claim they are fighting for Biafra are following messenger. The message is law. The message is peaceful declaration. The message is international organization will come. The message is all this UN. The message is all this AU. The message is all this EU. The message is Geneva Convention. The message is Vienna Convention. The message is Montevideo Convention. Those messages are UN charters that we need to follow, not messenger. Mazi Simon Eba, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They refuse to follow the message, Biafra, but they follow individuals that are leading it. That is where we people, those are fall back deep, falling down, BGC, MASOB, IPOB. This is where they're getting it wrong. Hana Azon Nnamdi Kanu. Some people are Simon Eba. What happened to the message? Because Simon Eba is a messenger. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a messenger. What happened to the message? And how can you deliver the message? And in this 21st century, the world has given us a way to deliver the message. Yes, official AJ, thank you so much for that comment. My eyes go to your message, official AJ. I welcome you also. Thank you so much. The movement of the new country are going stage by stage. We are now on era of world politics. Pop and plain. You had it from this document I'm reading here also. from this Montevideo Convention and Geneva Convention comparison of two. You had it here. Is it not true? It is all about politics. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a politician. Sani Banjoko is a politician in Finland. Among all these shenanigans, among all these on social media today, they claim fallback bridge, they claim BGC, among them, who is a politician that the world knows? It's only Ngozi Oronigbo in America. Her own out there. Go and check. And the criteria of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or criteria to fight a new country, she's only the one. You must be a wealthy human being. You must read very well. You must be a politician. You will remain fearless in front of your enemy at all times. When it comes to the criteria to be a leader, who has it? Dr. Ngozi Oronigbo of the United States of Biafra government in exile. This is a pure truth. The criteria to become a leader of this movement is only her. That is why Abato Obie told us that she is the surrogate. That is why Abato Obie told us this, she is the what? Protect the mandate. You are the COS and you are there. Abato Obie give all those things. You are spoiling the movement that sensitive position. That is why you are not against Ngozi Oronigbo. Let me tell you. You are against Abato Obie, Simon and Joko. And you are against the message Biafra. When Ikenga told you that if this Biafra is not for Simon, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that he will destroy it, he is destroying the message and claiming he's flowing the messenger. When Adadi Orama told you that if not for Simon, if not Simon, nobody will bring Biafra, I will be a saboteur. He is flowing the messenger on emotion, on how he feels, not to follow the message. Because if you are flowing the message, at this time that we are into, what could you do is to only use all your full hand, all your chest, all your mind to embrace USB we are declared. Simple as an ABCD. So we move. Where we are, the legal framework, Geneva Convention and beyond. The Geneva Convention primarily governs the conduct of armed conflicts. The Geneva Convention govern. This is the only law in the world that govern about what? Conflict, about military. That is what the Geneva Convention stands for. Before that, Woto is not necessary now, but we must keep our army ready, which the United Nations, which the United States of Biafra army are already equipped to do the necessary. Yes, I said it here. The military do not have need to come and show their face on social media. The military don't have to come and showing what on social media. The era of what has gone is the era of being silent and maintain the mandate properly. The era where we are is a time to maintain the mandate properly. It's a time to be silent destroyer. It's a time to be silent, do more action more than the talk. So there's no need you come to social media, remain, take instruction. We know that we have Biafra. No, we are doing this program for those that not even have military on the ground. But what of we have? And when it's a time to the government to use it, if it is necessary, if it is important, the government will prove it to the world that USB have their military. And then they will believe it also. They will not believe you and the propaganda. But Protocol 1, 1977, explained recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alliance occupation, and the racist. In the 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on a peaceful declaration to lead to international recognition. Hope you are listening. There is a law. They call it what? The Protocol of Geneva Convention, Protocol 1, quoted 1917 that was implemented in this 21st century that joins the movement that we are into to help us to make it easy. What do they say? They are now telling you here, or letting us understand what? That under the era where the military regime is being used has gone. They call it what? Colonial era. Occupation era. Those who occupied our land like the Nigerian government. Then the racist regime. Those who never want you, your color and everything in their area. These are the things that matter so much that you guys to think, not that way you are thinking. You are telling us what you feel and how you want it. Please endeavor to like and share the program, please. Because whenever you like the program, you are bringing more people to join us. You are making message to go viral. Please endeavor to like and share. Please, my people. Now, listen. The principle of legitimacy, the principle of proving I am the owner of this land. We are a sovereignty. We are the owner is what? The recognition often shifts from the whole control. The recognition shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. Now, listen to where it shifts to. The principle of legitimacy, the principle of sovereignty, the principle of a new nation, how and where. Listen. Recognition often shifts. They have shifted recognition for what? On what area? From who controls the land, like military, those claim they're on the ground, they are the one in control. Who wears the shoe, no where is paying, like I don't know. No country is getting in that way because that thing you are doing is how you think, what you feel. But look at the one the world wants. Look at how the world feel. Look at their criteria. Look at their protocol that you have to join for you to have a new country. What happens? Now, let's continue. The principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land. It has shifted from you claiming that you're underground controlling the land. It has shifted. It's not again your hand claiming military or whatever, whoever you may claim in the homeland. What happened? Down, let's continue. The land to whom has the legal of democracy right to represent their people. If you doubted it, I challenge you again, Keresana, Kurawa, and all of them, Mama Dwaba, and all of them. Just put a polling unit on your pages. Tell Biafrans to come and vote. That is how you will know who is in control of the Biafran land. Check, and you will find out yourself. Stop deceiving yourself. Stop confusing yourself the more. Focus on the truth and the reality on the ground. Focus on the message, not on the messenger. Focus on the message. UN article is a message. Montevideo Convention 1933 is a message, not a messenger. Geneva Convention we're doing right now is a message, not a messenger. These are the areas that needed our attention, that we need to do amendment and move on. Now, they are telling us here what? That, put this one in brackets. Recognition often shifted from who controls the land to who has the legal or democracy right to represent their people. Do you see? It's no longer gun and bullet. It's no longer a military regime. It's no longer we are men on ground. It's no longer we are Biafra Liberation Army. No, it's no longer we are triple general. We are triple general. We are generals of generals. No, the world has abandoned you and shifted from that area to the area that we controls and favors every human being in this 21st century. That is where the world are. Now, the golden mode. This recent present shows that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of a state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on this constitution and legitimacy. Based on the constitution and legitimacy. This is what happened. Some people, their people has been in the prison for 5 years, for 50 years. But look at what the word is here. The recent president chose that over 50 nations could organize a political leader as a legitimate head of a state, even without physical control of a government buildings, based on the constitution legitimacy. It's only on USB you can find it out. It's only on US that are protecting all this existing protocol. It's only on US that are doing all these things I'm hearing out here. So it is very important that you understand what we are into and what we are about to do. It is very important like that. It's not just to come and be shouting. It's not just about Ngozi Arabugoro Fulani. The world does not see us Ngozi Arabugoro Fulani. It's only in your local brain, in your blind sense, it's only where you call Ngozi Arabugoro Fulani. And you think it can sell. It doesn't mean anything in the world. Because those that are given recognition are not losing like you, neither are they losing like me. But all we know is one thing. The D-Day has been done already. There's no going back. So, the recognition often shifted from who controls the land. The recognition about you that is controlling Biafra land. Under this 21st century law of the Geneva Convention of the Protocol 1 of 1977, they said that the giving recognition does not depend on how many land you control in your territory. It does not depend on that. Controlling 100% yard of land, 120%, they said. In this 21st century, recognition often shifted from who controls the land to who has the legal or democracy right to represent their people. Where can you see it? It's only USB, through the cabinet members of Ngozi Arabeze and all of them. That is why I always say kudos to all of you who stand tall and make it possible to us. Let's continue.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework rather than military force is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has evolved to allow for function.
Today, we have a permanent population. I am one of them. Defined territory in the 40 states of the USB. These are what they are asking for recognition. This is what they are asking for you to become a sovereign state, not gun and bullet.
No recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy.
I hope you're listening. Let me tell you what you will do to get what I'm doing right now. Bring your Google out. Type Geneva Convention. Just type Geneva Convention laws. Now, when you type Geneva Convention laws, what are you going to type? Type, after a peaceful declaration from or by a government in exile, can they get recognition as a sovereign nation without full force military? You can also ask, without a military commanders, after a peaceful declaration, can this government in exile get international recognition? Ask this via our side so you may find an answer. ask the question vice versa, so you will find an answer by yourself. You will know that we are just, after our declaration, instead of thought to focus to educate ourselves and give ourselves what will make us to believe that what we're doing is right, we continue on internal matters, continue fighting internal matters, and continue telling us what you think and how you feel. It goes nowhere. All those things can never end as snob. I'll start sharing. Where's the booty? That's about how you feel. Let's continue. The recent president shows that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of a state, even without fiscal control of the territory or government buildings. Are you hearing it? Even though if there is no fiscal control of territory, because of what? Because of the enemies. I hope you are getting it clearly. For you who the champion BLA, whatever you are championing, the world has moved away from that. Stop deceiving people. Stop deceiving yourself. Do the right thing at the right time for us to have Biafra as our own nation. These are the areas I want you to be thinking. As I also tell you, forget about Ngozi Arabeze, but ask questions without putting her name. Ask questions without having grievances of Ngozi Arabeze in your mind. That is why you are falling every blessed day, and that is why she's shining and she's moving forward, and you are at the back of her. That place office you didn't want to enter today, she has entered there past months ago. That's the pure truth. So, my people, it is our right, and we must exercise it in a peaceful way. So, do not panic. I want you to understand that you are on the right track. I want to understand that we are going home with USB we are declared, because they are observing all the existing protocol of the UN, Geneva Convention, Vienna Convention, MONTEVIDEO Convention, and UN Charter. They are on this all in together. They are using one bird to kill 5 birds more. That is a very vital thing. At this stage, we continue. The right to self-determination. Remember what we just finished now. Remember, have the back of your mind again. Let me refresh your mind before we move. The recent president chose that the over 50 nations could organize a political leader as a legitimate head of a state, even without a fiscal control of a government building, based on the constitution legitimacy. Based on the constitution legitimacy. Are you the one who are putting this constitution? We go 247. Are you the one putting constitution of a new country? Maazi Akwa, are you the one putting the constitution for us to have a new country? Is it not our US government are doing everything for us to go home? And they are the one to sign, not you, not me. Shibos, I can see. Thank you so much for coming. Please hit the like button to join us.
Right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without...
What do you hear right now? The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove its representative the genuine will of people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. Only our peaceful declaration that we are getting moral standing. What are you still waiting for? And other self-determination. So, when you are listening to such a thing, you will not pay attention. You will pick those that suits you and trying to deceive some gullibles. For those who are still posting their their fundraising of evil agenda. So, my people, let us understand that without military commanders, that Biafra has come to become a country. That is not doing what? Stop us from standing on the merit of the truth, no matter who you are in this movement. So, the right to self-determination, this is a UN organized collective right. If a movement can prove it respects the genuine Biafrans, or the genuine ones will offer a people through painful means. So, when we look at this area that we are into right now, that is where the matter lies most. In all this significant and moral legal standing, who has it? Only USB. Only what? USB has it. No other one that have it. So we'll continue.
Military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a
Part of recognition without military force, listen, in bracket, listen to this.
Movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting.
Are you hearing it? I hope you are getting it right. For a peaceful government in exile to move from movement to recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are using to requirements. Are you hearing it? There will be what? Diplomatic milestone. There is many things. There is many things that surrender this, and which is what USB is doing right now. Diplomatic movement, the legal aspect of it. Are you not hearing it? They say, have you had it here? Oh, you must have military first. Ilan, sorry, Anthony, good evening from here. I see you. Thank you for coming. Do you hear from the Geneva Convention that here that you want in the first only way for you to become a nation, you must present 1,000 military? It's nowhere to be found. It's not inside the constitution. It's not inside the legal criteria of it. What else? Go home. Our people must leave Iberiberism. It's too much on us. Please hit the like button if you like, if you may. For a peaceful government in exile, from a movement to an organized entity, several diplomatic milestones are required. Biafra recognition, individuals, host nations, or sympathetic alliance formally recognize their government in exile, diplomatic passports, or establishing representative of office. Well, now, as you are hearing, bilateral recognition, there is many ways of recognition that a new country need to get first. What is that thing? Individual in different areas can host a program in the name of they are looking for a new country, in the name of the USB we are declared. It's allowed under the international law. You had it here. So, when you see such a thing, and you had it here, individual hosting a nation of sympathetic alliance formally recognized, the government in exile, diplomatic passports, or establishing representative office. These are the areas that matter so much. These are the areas that people do not understand. The only thing they want to work, water. When they're knocking with those on the head of them will be using it to make money. You don't even know that. You don't know about it. UN observer status. Why full UN? Membership requests a stakehold. Organization like PLO. Example like PLO. Who are these PLO? Who are them? I will not answer you until we come back again on this program, so you may understand them. Or the sovereign order of mental have achieved various levels of payment observed status, getting them a voice in international forms. The UN and their state members required that organization like PLO or the sovereign order of Meta have achieved various levels of presenting overseas status, getting them a voice in the National Assembly. Now, when UN is here, a country that is, they use a name, PO, fought for their freedom. There is no military. But they was be able to achieve the recognition. They was be able to achieve their official recognition because of what? Because of the law and the hands that was being given to them. These are the things that matter so much. Or you also understand from here that when this country that I'm going to mention their name tomorrow is fighting their own, there is what you are not doing well. And that is what? Showcasing military on the social media. The world has started putting eyes, and they will count them as what? As terror. This message I'm giving to you. If you like, you take the message. If you don't like, don't take the message. It's very important.
A voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy.
So, now that we have done the peaceful declaration, what is that way that PLO used to achieve their sovereignty on their own before they have to go to UN to debate about their freedom? So, it is very important on this that we are into to prove to you that some countries in the past have been able to achieve their country without no one military on boots on the ground. They did not showcase military. So for you, who is a USB military that are coming out of social media, stop. You are endangering the movement. You are delaying USB recognition. In the social media, delays recognition of a new country, a peaceful country, because it's a peaceful time, not regime military time. God, good evening from here. Uche Ejiofor, I see good evening from here also, my brother. Welcome. So let us continue. Observe status, getting them a voice from international forum. You see, everything are included. Otherwise, there's Robert told me to give us sometimes one voice note is okay. But let me leave it there because the best thing is about to happen.
This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground. 3. Challenges to sovereignty.
Yes, it has come to where pick up my interest so much. Honestly. This involves using international courts like this ICJ or ICC. These are the areas that are checkmating all we are doing in social media. Social media is a free space where they come monitor our movement, whether like it or not. It's a pure truth. This involves using international courts like the ICJ or ICC and the Human Rights Tribunal to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or oppressing power, effectively winning on the paper before winning on the ground. Now, are you hearing it? That the government in exile first, after a peaceful declaration, has to win on paper first before winning in the homeland. And they make it they repeat it for the second time again in this particular session that we are into. Under this Geneva Convention, in this 21st century, I quote, Protocol 1 of 1977 said, no more armed struggle. You can only use a peaceful declaration, diplomatic movement, legal pressure, politics pressure, and media pressure for you to get recognition. These are the things that I want us to understand. It's not what I feel, it's not what I think, it's what the world think and how they want it, not how you want it, because they don't look at your face when they're knocking all these laws and you are not there. Now you must follow it for you to reach where you are going.
Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
We are coming today. I hope you pay a very good attention. Challenges to sovereignty, despite peaceful declaration, two major headlines remain. What are these facts and the what? Effective control. Most states are hastening to organize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercise actually administration control of the territory. When you feel like what we are passing through today in the hands of all these money grabbers that have come out, some claim they are in charge of security, some claim they are the will not talk, we are Obatobie to talk, and all of them. It doesn't matter. What matters is that USB had organized on the paper document. That is what the world values, not all these things. Not as we think, not as we say. Look at how they are unwritten government in exile and where their power gotten into and what it's supposed to do. Who are you? So, in this stage that we are into, we have many things to do. Sorry, please, one is an important call. Sorry, 1 minute. So, I want you to understand the importance of where we are this stage that we are into. Do not be confused. Do not say, how can Biafra get recognition without a military? The world has said no to that. That even if they're showing that you are military on social media, that you are delaying the recognition. Showcasing military on social media, showcasing weapons, showcasing ammunition you have is part of what delayed Kosovo till today. It's what delayed Northern Cyprus till today. It's what delayed South Sudan. It delayed what is it in Africa again? This new particular one, Somaliland. These are things that delays them for recognition. So now that the world has made it officially for you to know that this way is not the way we want, look at the way we want, and you are obviously rejected. That simply means you don't want Biafra as a country. You want to continue using the name to make money. But the USB has come to end you from using this country name to make money. What it is. I am not saying, or the Lord does not say that we don't need them. We need the military. They say that the military will remain on the ground under self-determination. If enemy comes in, they will knock enemy. But for them to come and dance, showing, parading with military and parading with weapons, showcasing what they have, that time has gone. Because you are not the one that produced the laws. We are not the one that's giving recognition. We are the ones seeking for it. And those that will give us recognition are giving us the way we have to go. And you are refusing. Who are you? Is it your father, your mother that will give recognition? Look at after 34 years of Somaliland, December last year, when Israel mentioned their name, they recognized them. Look at their jubilation everywhere. That could not trigger something into your head. If that one did not make, if you don't picture something out from that that happened in Somaliland, then use this law of the Geneva Convention, that's a Protocol 1. We are reading this night to understand it clearly. That they was being delayed for 34 years. So you want us, because of your name is Igwe Butozo, because your name is Gento, because your name is whatever you call yourself in Biafra land, and you want to delay us. Because ndị mmadụ anwụgo n'ime ije a, ị karị iko nsọ ọ karị iko nsọ nwụrụ n'ime ije a, ị maazị mgbochi ya ka ọ karịrị ya. Who are you? ndị na-arọba ha ehopu ozugbo ịmagazị sef maazị Nnamdị Kanụ ọ gị sevri ya maazị Kanụ osiri bi ya gbara ọsọ gbapụ oge ndị amị sọrọ maka o si wee pụọ. Aka na-ekwu ị na-apụta soshal midia ebe na-egosi onwe gị. Mgbe ozikwana mgbe ihe egosizi onwe gị gbaa ọsọ ebe ka ị nọkwana. The world, what happened in Angola warlord might happen to you. That is why we are giving you this message for you to stop. Desist on this thing that you are doing. It's no longer. Act on the level of your nation. Act on the level of criteria of becoming a new nation. Follow the protocols. Follow the Donald Trump you are calling has a law that is Biden, that is controlling Donald Trump. This is the law that controls all of them. There was a time Donald Trump, America was like you. Now that we are declared, you refusing the declaration, you are making yourself a warlord, that the world might come after you. And those that are deceiving you. And when they come, they will allow them, they will pick you up. Because you that are showcasing ammunition in social media is the one that they will come for. The world of Angola, who refused to accept the region of Angola, what happened to him? He's in prison for 75 good years. And those who push him to be doing that, they are all left outside. If that is what you wish yourself, for you to delay this movement, Ember, you dare not delay it because people has given their life. Look at you. You don't know that if once we get recognition, might be released. If you get recognition today, he released immediately. If once we get only to recognition, he'll be released. and you are delaying the movement. You want him to come out. You never know that when a leader who is fighting for freedom was arrested and put in prison, that he handed over to all of us to fight and get that message that he sent us to go and deliver. How can you deliver Biafra? We can only deliver it through this peaceful declaration that lead us into what? Into recognition. You don't know. And they're all about what? Despite peaceful declaration, two major headlines remain. What are those two major headlines that remain? One is effective control. They told us effective control lies on who are controls on the paper, not who control on fiscal territory in the land. Or Eden or Mudre. Not me, not you. What I have to do is to follow. And we get what we're looking for. Political interest. Political interest is all about politics. A movement of a new country is all about a very tough, intelligent politics, what they're playing there, not a local politics who just win a president. No. It's beyond that. And who will play it? Those who are well read, those who are well educated, those who are Ngabasi or someone like me. Recognition is really a popular legal decision. It's often a geopolitical one. Recognition is all about politics. The interests of those who want to give it to us, what are you going to give in return? Not because of your carry gun and bullet. Not because of that. One state, whether they are existing, trending, or security relationship with the current de facto government. Yes, that's what it is. USB everywhere, de facto, we have it. In summary of the modern recognition of 21st century, submarine in the modern 21st century of recognition listing. In the 21st century, the trending is moving towards re-educative sovereignty. Look at where it shifted. When an entity treated as an estate for a legal and diplomatic purpose, such as signing treaties or managing their people, even if it lacks a fiscal capital control, even if they lack what? A physical capital control, success depends less on successful is no longer depend or say less. It doesn't depend, it's less on the military force. It doesn't rely on the military force, but I'm saying on the military force recognition that it lies lesser. But it depends on the effectiveness of the government in exile by controlling, telling their people what to do, not for their people to come and tell them what to do, like that Okoko. And he was quoting that USB has met all the criteria. We have met all the UN charters. Can he read one that we have met? Tell the slave to read one. Once you that one from Odimebu, because of he's no longer a governor, or join Ogun Kre, but he show we no but people know where you na met us on social media. Now we must continue. And more on the studies, diplomatic pressure is what the world needs. Administrative structures, which USB have, such as a cabinet and the constitution and the international lobby. Do you see how they remove military out from a movement of a new country organization in this 21st century? And look at what they counted us that they needed. They need what? They want us to go into what? A diplomatic pressure, administrative structures, such as cabinets and the constitutions. Do we not have constitution today? We have. Then an international lobbies, USB has all of them. Do you see what they put in a place of military when you are looking for a new country? But if it was in the 20th and 80th centuries, military number one, this 21st century, you are no longer number one. Why can't you listen? I want to play without saying word before we do another different, before we do another thing today, if we may.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework, rather than military force, is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground.
Get that area pop and plain to the Indio scene. You must win on paper first in this 21st century before winning on the ground. You must win on paper. Where's those papers? You must win in the UN. You must win in other countries around that surrenders the movement. You must submit your document to every appropriate authorities. Once one recognition starts coming, you start signing treaties, you have win on the paper before winning on the homeland. But they want us to come and do the other way around, where the world will turn against us and we will look like Northern Cyprus, we will wait like Kosovo, we are going to wait like Somaliland, we are going to wait like Sudan. Now that they told us the problem of those people, can't we learn from their mistake and move forward? It's the time to learn from their mistakes and we move forward. That's what it is. It is what it is, whether you like it or not. You will do nothing because you are not the one that is giving this recognition. By force. If USB, these are truth I want you to understand. It's not by what I think. It's not about my emotion. It's not about how I feel. It's about the really reality. It's about the bitter truth that the world had from us. Now that we are bringing it out, can't you embrace it? Can't you like and share the programs for others to hear and understand? That is why I allow you to play so you will hear it. You must win on the paper first in this 21st century. But if it was in the time of in the era of 18th centuries and 20th centuries, you must win in the battlefield in the homeland before you become. Now that the world has said we have changed this thing, we have moved away from it. Why can't we follow the word and move? USB has followed the word and moved forward. They are no longer that place you think, because of the world has changed, and we must embrace the change. You must accept it. Forget that you are gra. You go nowhere with it. You are going nowhere with gra. You lead us nowhere in this 21st century. That is the areas I want to understand something. That is why here I give a different message altogether. Even if it's just one person like the program, I will leave it like that, because Chukwuka knows I have done what he gave me to do in this 21st century of this Biafra we are declared. Go and check every platform. I have a different message. Because the world hide the truth from us. And they write the truth in paper. They write all the guidelines in the paper and keep it down and use mouth to confuse all of us. It's no longer the time. That is why we're here to prove it to you.
3. Challenges to sovereignty. Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
I hope your mind has zeroed down for you to understand that in this, they did not that you don't need military, but to championing military as number one priority, they said no to that. That you must champion a peaceful declaration, diplomatic process, legal process, and all that you can do. That is how it is. And you cannot now we can never change it. They call it what? They call it existing protocol that has been there before us. And this 21st century law is very simple. It is very flexible for us to use that achieve Biafra as a country. If you can stop showcasing military on social media, because showcasing those weapons will delay Biafra organization. They will see us as those are leading the group of rebels inside the bush, those that are leading terror, those that are leading insurgency. Run for your life and for the benefit of others who are seeking for Biafra as a country. On this junction, our phone number is open. If you join us from the beginning, you can also call number +97336051,337. That number only on WhatsApp. The number is, I repeat again, +97336051,337. That is the areas we need to know at this time. So for you to know that the USB is on the right track, USB embraced the 21st century law after official declaration. But people do not understand it very well. And they never knew that there is a 21st century law that controls a new country through that the only way you can do it is through a peaceful declaration, even though you are in exile, even though in the homeland. Anyway you have done it, what matters most is that you have done the needful. That you have done what? You have done the needful. I will always say this word, do not panic. USB is not on right of this world. And we are going to follow all this protocol for us to go home very easily. That is why USB is not sending military in social media. That is why USB is undermining what we are doing the way it's supposed to be on coded language. This is how it is. I will play it again as I wait for phone call to come.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework rather than military force is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, Modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning before winning on the ground. Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
I hope it is very clear to you that you have understand it properly, that in this stage that we are into, the things we have to do for us to achieve our country, the things the world are looking at our hand to do, not how we want it, how they want us to do it, and what they're expecting from us, and what we shall gain from doing what the world wants. It's no longer you, it's no longer me, it's not about gun and bullet. It's not. Take that correction from you, swallow your part of your ego, and drop down. You are not even doing USB, you are endangering your own life. Do you prefer to die and USB move on? Do you prefer to exit and USB move on? Esther Okwesa, it's been long, Mommy, it has been long you are joining us. That's our time, always. Thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, remember that the topic we treated, that the headline on our comment section is what? In this 21st century, after a peaceful declaration, can a government in exile achieve recognition without military force? That is the topic we treated. And we got it out from Geneva Convention, from three conventions, MONTEVIDEO Convention of 1933. We also get it from what? From Geneva Convention, Protocol 1, 1776 in bracket, 1976 in bracket. That is what we are giving out to you this evening. So I will play it for the last time as well for some about to those who can call. If there is not call, then we will check, because we want to be doing it one section until finish it up, so people may understand it while they listen to it.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework rather than military force is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground. 3. Challenges to sovereignty. Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most states are hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
I hope you followed and you paid attention closely. What else do we want again? Whereas there is way we can achieve Biafra without showing gun and bullet in our territory. Must we show gun and bullet? Must we be under that? That is why in this 21st century, a road to a new country is what I have presented to us. What we have to do is to buy the ideas, those that suited us and those that don't suited us. They are not making us false by follow all the criteria. No, but the world are making things to be easy for us to live. That is why things remain with ease. But USB has come to change those things by through the peaceful means of a peaceful declaration that give us USB as a country. So do not panic, my brother. Do not mind those that champion what they don't know. Do not mind those that since they open YouTube, the same thing they are talking is what they are talking today. That's what they use to deceive their people. We must be resolute. We must stand strong at this stage. We must. So, because of my time, like I said, we are going to end the program here until we come back tomorrow again. We are coming back to treat issue of this country. Has any country in this 21st century even achieved any recognition without military on ground or without showing military in this 21st century? That is, so you will see countries also that they have also, even in exile, they have get all the option they want. It's only remain UN and the government in exile, waiting for the best time for everything to happen. And among the 75 exile government, I want to know that USB is number 5. And this country they want to use to give us an example tomorrow is that country that are on number 1. They are from China. This is how it goes. It's not by Tibuobute anymore. The world has rejected gun and bullet to showcase social media. So please, my people, USB gawa n'iru, USB ebe a nọ, USB ọmaka mere gị ihe na ihe na-emere anyị karịrị akarị. And it's only in USB that we are having Biafra as a nation. Forget all this group. Do not panic at all. All the existing protocol, all the criteria, all the template to shield Biafra is what she has. It's what USB has. So why should I go into be panic? No more. You have understood it today. You must win on paper first before you win on ground. That is the message. From me, from here, it is a wonderful good night to every Biafrans. Thank you so much.